Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to another Warcraft replay. Here we have a Night Elf vs Undead matchup here on the map Dalaran. Yes, Netease ladder. This is going to be number 48. Yeah. As soon as I say that, I just realized how much I've already done of this, but yeah, we have 120 spawning in as the red undead player in the bottom right. He'll be facing off against Colorful, the blue Night Elf in the top left. It's a fairly lengthy game, but I believe it's pretty much standard, no unusual tags here, and that's fine. I just want to really just talk about stuff. First of all, 129 patch has been released on the Battle.net server, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if W3 Arena actually is up to date on that as well, but as far as I can tell, I don't think Netease has fully switched over. But I do know that there is going to be like some preliminary tournament, I think tonight or sometime later on the day, and yeah, obviously the video will be uploaded much later because yeah, my uploading speeds are pretty crap. But either way, Demon Hunter for Colorful and Death Knight for 120. These guys have played each other before on the channel at least. Specifically for the Netease ladder, and I think the last one was like number 27, and as far as I can remember, I actually glanced over a little bit before. It was actually a warden for Colorful, and even though he got level 6 on his warden, he wasn't able to actually yeah, win out any major fights. Oh wow, very unlucky on that archer getting that miss. Not too often you see an archer actually proc that evasion on that assassin there, or enforcer, on the first shot at least, but yeah, 129 is out. I think I talked about it a couple games ago, and I am very interested to see if we will see any hero variations from now on because of some slight nerfs to some oppressive heroes, such as the Blade Master there. Oh, Colorful did deny one Death Coil with that Moonwell construction, but it seems like he wasn't fast enough for the second one, and we'll just give over some experience over to the Death Knight, who, I mean, to be fair, he did burn his entire mana pool just for one Wisp, so, and of course he just got mana burn, so that might just be enough to maybe just sway the Death Knight away from this. No real chance of actually picking up any kills since Death Coil is no longer available. And the Demon Hunter should just be hitting level 2 very soon after picking up that last Brigand there. And not much else for now. It seems like a bit of a delayed graveyard for 120 since he did go for mass school opening here. Halls of the Dead is on pretty much halfway completed, and the Death Knight is hoping to try and get us around maybe. Probably not, since Unholy Aura is not on the play, so it is gonna be really hard to actually get those goals around that Demon Hunter, who is pretty quick even without boots. Instead, 120 is just gonna go for some early creeping here, potential to steal with a mana burn, I guess, but yeah, so far hasn't actually stolen anything for the Demon Hunter. 120 actually gonna get off a surround thanks to, actually I'm not sure if that tree even contributed too much, but yeah, the surround is going to do a lot of damage onto that Demon Hunter there. Ghouls quickly covering over the skeletons that die, and that will probably just be a TP scroll being burnt. Archer is able to pick up that straggling ghoul, and yeah, TP scroll in exchange for a single ghoul kill there. Probably pretty good for 120's side there, but let's see how well he can perform with this second outing as the Demon Hunter immediately comes back thanks to those Moonwells. And he'll just be pushed off from that creep camp instead. So
your building is complete.
Yeah, so far a lot of early skirmishes. I think that's one of the good things about this map. It's surprisingly small. I mean, like, compared to other maps, it is actually, both players are pretty close to each other. Yeah, that kind of just results in more fights actually occurring, so yeah, should be thankful about that. Very quick tier 3 starting for 120 as he wants to get his destroyers out as quickly as possible. How Colorful is actually going to progress with this, it seems like it's just going to be the simple double Ancient of Laws. I'm curious to see what heroes he will pick up for himself, maybe a Naga, maybe a Panda. But 120 probably just going to go with the standard stuff. Death Knight, obviously Lich is in progress, and third hero is pretty much in the air. Could be Naga, could be Dark Ranger, could be maybe. Actually, since I didn't see the unusual tag, I'm probably not expecting a Dreadlord, but we'll see. Bandlord camp has been started, but in front of 120's Ghoul army here, so Colorful might have to think a little bit, as a Nova is going to be tossed onto that archer. Ancient of War is probably just going to get killed off because, yeah, the Night Elf army can't really back that guy up. Panda has been picked up, as we did hear from the audio prompt there. Will we see a Breath of Fire coming down? Not just yet. Honestly, that was a pretty good grouping to go for a Breath of Fire, but he is holding on for now, is just going to pick up the leftover creep.
Your building is complete.
And oh, there we go with the Breath of Fire. That kind of hit pretty much everyone, but of course it is only a level 1 Breath of Fire. Ancient of Laws have been completed, tier 3 is on the way. I think it's slightly behind of that Black Citadel. Oh, it's actually quite a bit behind, so yeah, there is that. But of course, double Ancient of Laws will be able to produce a lot more units compared to a single slaughterhouse. Yeah, Dryad's on the way, and once tier 3 is done, we should be expecting a couple of Drills of Claws as well. Demon Hunter very close to level 3. Finally, those skeleton kills have been racking up, and he should be close to that level 2 mana burn very soon. Level 2 mana burn is when, I mean, it starts to get really noticeable how very little mana you have in front of that Demon Hunter, but Death Knight taking quite a beating there is going to be forced to run away. No real form of recovery aside from the obsidian statue there, but then again, that's like 10 health per 1.5 seconds, I think. But so yeah, he is gonna have to stay back a little while, try and regen with his Unholy Aura, and of course statues as well. Black Citadel is completed for 120. I think the Death Knight picked up the Orb of Corruption, so yeah, he can't transfer that over as soon as possible. Skeleton sitting around the tavern makes me expect a tavern hero coming out for 120. So it could be a Dark Ranger or a Naga Sea Witch, as expected. But it seems like the skeleton actually timed out. Little skirmish here. Panda taking quite a beating as well, but the Death Knight is also pretty low health. He does have the invuln if he wants to proc it, but it seems like no damage is coming his way, so he is gonna just happily hold on to that. Colorful taking quite a bit of losses there, a couple of archers and I think a Dryad, but supplies on both sides is pretty even regardless. Master's training is on the way and it's halfway done.
Our sacred grove is being
Ancient of Wind is also on the way, probably just for hippogriffs, and we actually see a Goblin Tinkerer coming out for 120, which I think is the. I think we saw this last game as well. Actually, did we? No, I think we had the Dreadlord last game versus, when 120 versus Sowen, but I do remember a Tinkerer versus Night Elf. I think it's mainly just to. I don't know actually. Pocket Factory is obviously the reason why it's chosen, but does the explosions. Does the suicide explosions of those goblins actually do enough is the question compared to an actual third hero. We shall see, but the ghouls are getting oppressed so badly with that slow poison. the one bear is going to finally turn into his bear form and maybe just destroy those Crypt Fiends and Ghouls, but either way, the three undead heroes are pretty much trying to fight this battle by themselves. Tinkerer is going to get taken down, Bear is going to get Nova toiled to death. Yeah, a bit of a messy fight from both sides. The bears are going to save themselves thanks to Rejuvenate, but the seems like Frostmourne hungered yet again and was able to claim another bear's life. TP scroll from 120, but not before he lost a lot on his side as well. Did keep all the statues, but he kind of lost pretty much all his Crypt Fiends, which might not be that great considering how how difficult it is to actually fight those bears. The Death Knight Lich pretty much on overtime duty until those destroyers can actually come out. Tinkerer should be revived through the altar very soon. Sack Pit is on the way Sack Pit is already done and a Shade is on the way. Probably gonna be seeing a Boneyard, but I am gonna hold my breath since we already have a couple of Hippogriffs being trained up here. Not that I actually know if 120 actually spotted it a bit. Now he's seen the Hippogriff, so he should maybe double think about that Boneyard, but he is gonna place it down anyway. We did see from the previous game, despite versing some Hippogriffs, or not Hippogriffs, but despite versing Raiders and Wind Riders, if you have like a billion Frost Runes, you can just overwhelm your opponent, but it seems like 120 is not going to have that. He is going to cancel his Boneyard, probably due to those Hippogriffs there, so it is probably better to just focus on Destroyers, A-Bombs, and probably Crypt Fiends. I believe A-Bombs should be, starting to be produced for 120, and that should be just a standard army comp to deal with double ancient of lore units. The wild card for me is that Tinkerer. He needs to get at least level 3 to get his level 2 Pocket Factory out, but yeah, I'm still a little mixed about this hero pick here. He is going to get mana burned after placing down that Pocket Factory. Hippogriff is going to get whipped and is going to get sniped down, so that is going to be another Hippogriff down for Colorful. And yeah, both sides, Colorful really wants to maybe pick a fight here, but 120 might be a little hesitant, maybe not doesn't have enough Crypt Fiends to out DPS these bears and dryads, but we'll see. Even supply for both sides. Level 3, level 3, level 2 for the undead hero versus level 3, level 3. Yeah, so technically hero advantage towards 120 since he does have a whole level 2 hero over his opponent, but yeah, 3 bears, 4 dryads, that looks pretty scary versus just 3 Crypt Fiends, 2 statues, a destroyer, and an A-bomb, so not enough. Nope, that was really loud, annoyingly loud actually. Zeppelin hired up, possibly for some Zeppelin micro here, but Demon taking a huge chunk of damage in, thanks to the Nova Coil combo. But with the +6 strength, he is able to tank that up very nicely. 120 has started to dip into low upkeep, so he is going to add a couple more units to his army. Another A-bomb would definitely help versus those bears and dryads. Zeppelin has been spotted by the Shade, and the Destroyer is going to just chase them over. I'm not sure if the Zeppelin actually wants to go for an expansion over here, but it would be pretty weird since it is his opponent's expansion. Hippogriff support, just escorting that Zeppelin very nicely, and instead of expanding, it seems like he just wants to take down the level 8 camp, and this may just be a game-changing item that will drop very soon. Hippogriff just chasing down that lone destroyer and will be able to pick it up, so nicely done there. Dark Wizard is going to drop the Wait, what? Wand of Illusion and the Amulet of Spell Shield. So
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
that will be a very nice item to deal with either Nova or Coil. Probably Nova first, since Nova is like pretty much instantaneous. So yeah, I'm actually very curious to see how well the spell shield will work, especially since there's no Naga, so there's no third spell to worry about blocking. But 1-0. It looked like he wanted to blockade his opponent, but seems like he would rather just go for a counterattack at the base instead. But here comes a drop from Colorful. And no Nerean towers or spare towers at all, so this is a very exposed Haunted Goldmine here. Only the Black Citadel for defense, and here comes the counterattack from 1-2-0. Who will break first? I'm pretty sure Colorful will break first, since he is just going to take down the Goldmine. And he should TP scroll back home, but it seems like he wants to maybe go for a base race here, as Tree of Eternity, I believe, is going to be the main target for 1-2-0, but that is a lot of health to go after. Frost Nova doing a bunch of damage against those wisps there, and Colorful is going to lose a lot of his workers, but he might be able to get a Black Citadel in exchange. Those bears do a lot of damage, especially with the Roar buff as well as the Breath of Fire to combo it out, and I think we're not even going to see a TP scroll from Colorful either. I think he's a little afraid of losing that TP scroll when he loses that Tree of Eternity, so instead it is just pretty much a base race on both sides. Acolyte has been dazed. I think he was in a Zeppelin when it died, so that explains that, but Acolytes have been brought over, and now we are in a really weird situation for both sides, where they are going to be forced to migrate after trading bases, and yeah, it's now it's really weird. Necropolis has been placed down in front of in front of Colorful's base. Obviously, 1-2-0 can't do that. I mean, he could, but he did place down over here. So, okay, really weird scenario from both sides. It's pretty much going to be army versus army until the bases actually become operational again. But yeah, it's who will break first, I wonder. I think Colorful was able to get +1 armor before his Hunter's Hole is going to get taken down, so that is very nice for himself. 1-0 on the other hand only has +1 attack and +0 nothing for his A-bombs, so right. Really weird situation. Colorful is a bit behind in supply. About 10 supply is quite substantial, especially since you can't no longer reinforce your units. So yeah, I hate the minimap thing on this replay, because all of 1-2-0's buildings have been taken down, but it's still showing on the minimap, which makes me think of weird things. But Colorful is also going to lose all of his buildings, and yeah, his base is now 1-2-0's, and the bottom left is now his, so really weird. Dryads have spotted a destroyer and the whip onto the Zeppelin, so they I guess they can't unmount or dismount, so Zeppelin is I was gonna say Zeppelin is very vulnerable to screwing over every single unit in his occupants, but since the whip has worn out, yeah, Colorful will be remaining in this game a little longer. Tree actually chooses to not entangle. I think it just wants to reposition to maybe get closer to the trees, I don't know. But either way, I don't actually think 1-2-0 has any wisps, so even if he did have a Tree of Life, he can't actually mine gold. So unless he
Our warriors
yeah,
have
it's
engaged
actually
the
really
enemy.
bad for Colorful. He can afford to make wisps, but he doesn't have the supply capacity for it unless he actually like intentionally sacks his own units. Yeah, he can't actually rebuild his base. On the other hand, 120, resources wise, he can't make another haunted gold mine. He can sell his items, I believe. But that would make them weak to a potential counterattack, I believe. But he does have his acolytes, so as long as he gets his enough gold, he can just rebuild. So this is a really, really weird situation for both sides to be in. I think yeah, 120 is playing it smart. He is just gonna clear out the camps and possibly pick up items that he can sell, so he can re-haunt that gold mine. Obviously, Zeppelin here, Colorful is not gonna let that happen, which makes me think, why doesn't 120 just go after the Tree of Life? I wonder. Rock Golden Camp is going to be cleared out. Obviously 120 doesn't know of Colorful's situation, how he can't rebuild his base, but he has a shade, so he can definitely find out for free. Talisman Evasion has been picked up. That is probably just going to get sold since it's not that useful of an item. Dark Wizard Camp on the top left is going to get cleared out, and without the knowledge of 120. I think he has enough gold to haunt, and now he can. The Haunted Gold Mine is being guarded by the undead units, so even if Colorful wants to go for a counterattack, he is have to go into risk it a little bit. Orb of Darkness has been picked up for the pandas, so it could maybe sway things in the battle, but it is a really tough item to utilize since you need the killing blow instead of black arrows, which just has a timer, I think. So yeah, it's just a +6 item, to be honest. Hippogriff does get taken down thanks to a nice auto whip from the Crypt Beans there, and slowly whittling away against the numbers of Colorful. Meanwhile, 120 is, I mean, he's very close to just rebuilding his base. He has to build like five more ziggurats maybe to continue building units, but yeah, he is in a better position than his opponent, who can't do anything at all. So yeah, there's that. Destroyer trying to get some pot shots against that Zeppelin, but with the Demon Hunter and Hippogriff running around, it is just forced to back off. Death Coil can just be used. Oh wow, Hippogriff gets baited in and webbed, so I think that is the last Hippogriff out for Colorful, which is a really, really bad. I mean, it just makes the situation a lot more worse. Only the Demon Hunter is available to defend against this Zeppelin. And yeah, that just means more units lost for Colorful. This scenario is getting a little too repetitive, to be honest, but yeah. 120 is now mining gold, and he should be in a pretty good position to start producing ziggurats, I think. What does his lumber look like? He has no lumber. Okay, never mind. So in exchange, actually, I don't think 120 is in a good position either. He can produce necropoli to get his supply, but he actually has no ghouls to harvest any lumber, so yeah, in essence, even 120 is screwed. And right now he's trying to do this Hail Mary, trying to go after that Zeppelin, but yeah, Colorful is just going to drop down all his units. Preservation staff on the single bear. I think what is it? Colorful is trying to just preserve all his bears back home. Honestly, he could just do the preservation trick with the Zeppelin there, but obviously there is some risk to that. Graveyard is going to get placed down, but to what avail? There's really no reason to drop down that graveyard because, I mean, you have no ghouls. So, bit of a stalemate position here on both sides. Obviously it's 1-2-0 that can just choose to end this game quickly. Nope. Fresh Zeppelin gets hired up there. Oh, okay, apparently Colorful had another Hippogriff, but yeah, then again, he has to be careful not to get baited again. Shade is around. Hasn't spotted the single building, but yeah, right now it's just a bit of cat and mouse here on both sides. Zeppelin has successfully moved his units away from the top left corner. Surprisingly, the Demon Hunter is by himself, which is a bit weird. And here comes the units here. No Zeppelin to actually save this Demon Hunter. He does have the TP Scroll if he wants it. Nova Coil onto the Demon Hunter there, and TP Scroll is going to be forced. So a little weird as to why the Demon Hunter was by himself, but that is that, I guess. Yep, Demon Hunter has been spotted, so the Shade knows that the Demon Hunter came from this direction, and he is, I believe, trying to spot out the Tree of Eternity, or Tree of Life, and it will be able to spot, will it be able to spot? Oh no, it sees some of the trees destroyed over here, but it didn't go the extra mile. It didn't actually spot the Tree of Life, but now that 1-2-0 knows that the Tree of Life was around that direction, he is just going to send his army over there, and honestly, he really shouldn't be scared of a counterattack, really. Instead, is 1-2-0 actually going to end this game? I don't know, but is he really scared of a counterattack on his base? He really shouldn't be, but I mean, his playstyle suggests that he is. He does have a TP Scroll on his Lich, so even if a counterattack does happen, he can just use that. Here comes a bit of a drop here. Panda is gonna probably go for a level 2 Breath of Fire, and the Acolytes are just gonna get mauled down here. I mean, regardless, even if these Acolytes do get killed off, yep. I actually missed the Demon Knight being killed, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Even if he did kill off the Acolytes didn't really serve any purpose. So, yeah, I mean, counterattack, even if he did counterattack, it pretty much failed. TP Scroll wasn't even used, so despite all this, yeah, 1-2-0 just prevails, honestly. I don't know how the Demon Hunter got picked off, but regardless, it was pretty much game for 1-2-0. He had despite a dysfunctional base, he actually had a base, and his units were a lot stronger head-to-head versus Colorful, so yeah, there was very little chance of Colorful actually bringing this back. His Demon Hunter wasn't level 5, his Panda's not even level 5, so the very powerful breakpoints that they could not reach at all this game, yeah, pretty much had no ability to actually come back, so this should be it. Colorful just sticking around for the sake of it, just being annoying, and yeah, this is just gonna be 2-0 for 1-2-0 here on the channel for the Netease series, and yeah, Panda by himself. There's no reason. I think 1-2-0 is just playing around with his opponent. We do see the spell shield at least being used, but yeah, no real reason to keep this any longer. TP Scroll being used, but that's just prolonging the inevitable. Zeppelin has finally spotted the Tree of Life there, so Zeppelin is finally able to do what the Shade could not, and that should just be game very soon. I'm not sure if Colorful is gonna let his Tree of Life die before the GG, but yep, there we go. Okay, not as an action-packed game as I expected, but it definitely was a weird one at that. So yeah, I don't really know the purpose of that Tinkerer, but the game didn't actually go in the direction where we could find out, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Yeah, I'm gonna be pretty busy next week, so I can't really cast too many games. But anyway, take care.